going to suffer like those poor Christians overseas. No, no. God is the God of the American church. He's the God of the American church. And so don't worry about how bad it looks. God will take care of you. So just sit back. There's no consequences. It's not about if my people will humble themselves and pray. No, we're just going to, hey, it's just about if God wants to do something. He will. Violent the church is here. Now, the church spoke up when Donald Trump's leaked audio came out about something that he said 10 years ago. The church spoke up, and Beth Moore and Max Lucado, they sure spoke up, didn't they? How about T.D. Jakes? He spoke up. He had Oprah on his show, who said that we must vote for Hillary, and he sat there just smiling away. Never trying to discuss any other options, just clapping their hands and yay, Oprah. The Queen has spoken. The Queen has spoken. But silence on the 30 years of scandals following Hillary. He won't invite those people on. T.D. Jakes, Bishop T.D. Jakes. Yeah, I'm calling out names. What of it? We own this thing. We can do whatever we want. That's right. It's just a right-winged conspiracy. No, we love our country. We Christians love our military and vets, but no, we're not supposed to believe the mother of the fallen Benghazi warrior, Sean Smith. We're not supposed to believe WikiLeaks. That's the Russians. Don't believe the videos that you just saw by the undercover group Project Veritas. No, we're just supposed to take her word for it. It's all a part of a right-winged witch hunt. That's what I was told by a Christian last week, that everything coming against Hillary is just a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt. That's what I was just told. It's a witch hunt. Well, so what are we supposed to do with Anthony Weiner here? FBI director may have let her off the first time, but now, sorry, Hillary, your husband won't be able to meet Loretta Lynch in your private plane this time. Sorry. No woman card to pull here, Hillary. Sorry, no blaming the Russians on this one. You can't blame the Republicans. You can't blame Trump. Under federal law, mishandling national security information is a crime. Don't talk about that, though. Trump touched me on a plane 35 years ago in front of everybody in first class, but nobody saw it. Nobody saw it, but he did it. Let's talk about that. Let's make sure that we talk about that. Comey told Congress that the Clinton investigation was complete, but if new information came to light, that they would examine it. So amazing how just a few months ago, James Comey was the most competent, trusted, worthy, thorough FBI director ever. Nonpartisan. Nonpartisan. Now, well, Hillary says this, and I quote, this is what she said on television. It's pretty strange. It's pretty strange to put something like that out with such little information right before an election. It's not just strange. It's unprecedented and deeply troubling because voters deserve to get full and complete facts, she says. Voters deserve to. Does this woman hear herself talking? No. I want to look and see if there's a hand up her shirt like a puppet. She can't really be saying this. Voters, in the middle of an investigation. Voters, she says, deserve to get full and complete facts. So we called on Director Comey to explain everything right away and put it out on the table, she says. Wow. Trump, maybe you guys don't know this, Trump has just been the subject of an FBI investigation as well. I don't know if most people know this, right, where they just laid it all on the table. Full disclosure, they were going after him because they just knew that he has to have some kind of connections with Russia. He talks about Putin. So there's got to be, let's get the FBI on this because he said Putin. He said Putin. He said Putin on a plane. So I said Putin. Putin on a plane. That means something totally different, doesn't it? When I hear someone else say it, it means something totally different. He's just got to have a connection with Russia. I mean, isn't that what Hillary was accusing him of? Boy, there must be something going on. He's always talking about funny things. So we're gonna get him now. Well, that investigation just concluded, and there are zero ties between Trump and Russia. Zero, none. The New York Times reported this. Yes, the New York Times. You know they love Trump. Sure, they just reported this. No ties between Russian business. And a matter of fact, they found a connection with the Clintons. Surprise! Whoa. Surprise! The Clintons and Russia and a uranium deal. Interesting. So let's talk about what the American voter deserves to know, like the kind of criminal they may elect to the highest office on the face of the earth. Poor Hillary. She's such a victim. I know. There was just I wanted to pull this up. I'm going to pull it up later. I'm not even going to talk about it. We're going to pull out the woman card here in a little while. Woohoo! Yeah. Yay. So I was like, finally, it's my chance. She's such a victim. Hillary, nobody forced you to set up a private server in your bathroom. No one forced you to put classified information at risk. No one forced you to delete 33,000 emails, Hillary. Nobody did that. No one forced you to lie. That's all on you. Too bad you forgot to tell Huma to destroy her husband's laptop. What'd you run out of hammers? They must have ran out of hammers. Already used them all. Huma's already being thrown under the bus. A woman that's been with her from age 18 is now just some staffer. You can go back and up till just 3 days ago, you wouldn't see Hillary without that woman over her shoulder. But now she's just some staffer.
Next to her, behind her head.
Oh, in her ear. Yeah. Well, hey, the voters need to know, like maybe those 33,000 emails. Oh, you deleted those after a subpoena, by the way. Those were deleted, but it's okay. That's not criminal. No, it's okay. Voters deserve to get the full and complete facts. Explain everything right away. Put it on the table, she says. This woman didn't set up a private server because she didn't know any better. She didn't misunderstand that C stood for classified because she's stupid. She didn't destroy devices by accident. Oops, a hammer fell on my BlackBerry over and over.
17 times in a row.
A hammer fell on my laptop and my tablet over and over again. She didn't delete 33,000 emails about yoga and pie and wedding talk there. She didn't delete those because of that. You guys really believe that? I mean, come on. She did it because she thought she'd get away with it like everything else that she's gotten away with over 30 years. She knew Lynch and Obama and the media and the Democratic Party would shield her. She did it. Again, not for you, but for herself. So I ask you, yes, please pray. Yeah, please pray about who you should vote for because God is in control and no matter who's president, Jesus is king. So don't vote for Trump or don't vote at all or vote for a third party. And I'll see you on November 9th in the gas chamber. We got to go to a break.
Mic drop.
We got to go to a break. This is the 1412 Live right here on the 1412 Radio Network. When we get back, we're going to hear from everybody else on some of this and this huge move by the FBI. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Let the hair fool you. Shy knows her word. Don't go anywhere. This is the 1412 Live. Are you ready to see what God is going to do in your life and in your community in 2017? Then you'll want to join Don Allen and Matt Davis of Two Guys and a Bible for the 3rd Annual Winter Summit at Christ the Healer Studios in the Laurie Terrace Mall in Laurie, Missouri, located in the beautiful Lake of the Ozarks, Tuesday, January 3rd through Friday the 6th. Meetings are at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. daily. New this year are breakout sessions at 2 p.m. daily. Identity School with Dr. Glenn Harpline at a 4 p.m. breakout session. Christian Business Leadership with Tom Tompkins Jr. And the 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. meetings will be streamed live on the 1412 Radio Network. And all meetings will be live through streaming video. The 1412 Winter Summit also features Mike Bateman, Shy, Reverend Helen Lowry, Kirk DeMars, Pastors Mark and Kim Spellman, David Craig, and many more. The event is absolutely free and discounted hotel accommodations are available at the Sleep Inn and Suites in Camdenton. Just tell them you're with Two Guys and a Bible. The 1412 Winter Summit, Tuesday, January 3rd through Friday the 6th at the Laurie Terrace Mall in Laurie, Missouri. We want to hear from you today. Questions or comments about today's show? Contact us by email, don@twoguysandabible.com.
It's my sin, so I'm at it again with a pad and a pen. But this time to stick in, I got the spirit within. Man, I'm in the zone, but I ain't in it alone. The spirit's giving lyrics I can never write on my own. Making this glory known till the day that I'm gone. Cause I don't rap for me, I rap for him who sits on the throne. I was once a young misfit, guilty and convicted. I was blinded on the trail, again the scales begun lifted. No pun intended, my old life I'm done with it. Old tree, he's dead and gone like he was on some hit list. I come spitting over beats with drums kicking. How I'm rapping over tracks, got these cats tongue twisted.
Hey, welcome back to the program. This is the 1412 Live right here on the 1412 Radio Network. We are talking some politics today, and I've got some people that have joined me. Hey, if you want to give us any questions or comments, you can get a hold of us today. You can email me, Don@TwoGuysAndABible.com. You can get in the chat room. You can get on Facebook Live now. We've got Facebook Live rolling there, so you can get on there.
Best idea ever.
Best idea.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Shy. Thank you. That means a lot. It does mean a lot. From the millennial. From the millennial. The millennial. Shy's in here. Kirk DeMars is in here. We've got Matt with us from the big island of Hawaii. We want to talk about some email scandals. Now, this has been ongoing for sure. But now Kirk's going to get all spiritual on us. He's over here. He's over here. He's got his Bible open. This guy's ready to tell us something about what God might happen to say about, I guess this is a Christian radio show.
Right. Works and greater works.
Yeah.
That's who we are.
Yes,
right?
to bring it down back to earth.
Yes, yes.
Bring it back.
What do you got? What do you got for us, Kirk?
Well, you know, what's happening, I mean, and we know this, is that it's the enemy and his attack, another form of deception to try to pull people away from God.
That's right.
I mean, and we're acting like this is just happening. It's been going on for a long time, people.
It's true.
A long time.
Right.
Let me get back to a scripture here, Matthew 28 and verse 11. We're going to start there. This is the report of the guard. As the women were on their way, some of the guards went into the city and told the leading priests what had happened. Now, this was after Jesus had rose again and he came out of the tomb. I mean, these men were there guarding that tomb, and it was basically it was their life if anything happened and he wasn't there. But these men went into the city and they told the leading priests what had happened. A meeting with the elders was called, and they decided to give the soldiers a large bribe. They told the soldiers, "You must say Jesus' disciples came during the night while we were sleeping, and they stole his body. If the governor hears about it, we'll stand up for you so you won't get in trouble." Man, this stuff is just sounding like...
If there were emails then.
Rip that right out of the headline.
Right.
Yeah.
"We'll stand up for you so you won't get in trouble." So the guards accepted the bribe, and they said what they were told to say. Their story spread widely among the Jews, and they still tell it today. Now, the thing is that there's a lot of stories that are being spread, and we know that they're not true. But we can see how powerful the enemy is with his deception, is that people buy into those things. Even when they know that it's not true, there's no way possible that that could have been true. Those men would have been executed.
Right.
They would have been executed for not fulfilling their duty.
Right.
And we're seeing lie after lie after lie being spoken. I mean, Facebook's been a mess with people just with division, calling each other out. You can't be a Christian for this. You can't be a Christian for that. It's just pathetic, and we're not seeing that it's just a deception of the enemy to divide and conquer. Christianity is about being Christ-like.
Yes.
It's about being Christ-like.
Now, why did you say this before I went into my rant?
Well, because
that could have saved me a lot of...
Shy didn't nudge me. She didn't nudge me. She said, "Really, Kirk, you need to go."
Shy was rooting it on.
She's like, "You go, man." But it's been going on for a long time, people, and the reason is because the enemy is out to steal, kill, and destroy.
That's right.
And God loves Hillary Clinton. You said it right before.
Yeah,
he doesn't want anybody to perish.
That's right.
But we also have to understand that the truth is very important. The truth sets captives free, and there's a lot of people that are out there that are absolutely being blasted with these lies and deception, leading them to destruction.
Right.
Leading them to a place where it's going to be hard for them to come back from. And they just need to have the truth spoken to them. And you know what? Sometimes when we deliver the truth, it's not very popular. They're not really happy with us.
Right.
I mean, probably like right now, today, there's probably people even watching Facebook Live or
we'll get some thumbs down.
Yeah, we'll get some thumbs down. But you know what?
The angry emoji.
The problem is that we need to also recognize that the media in our world today are looking at us like we're the radical Islamic terrorists.
Yeah.
They're looking at Christianity.
Well, we've been called terrorists.
Right.
Yeah.
And some people, you know what? I would say we need to examine ourselves and say, how are we representing Christ?
Right.
If we're attacking and calling people out and calling them stupid and things like that, that's not going to win anybody to Christ.
No, the show's over now.
The show's over.
We got nothing else to say.
We got to remember that we have to do this in love.
WWJD.
Thanks.
So with that,
in comes the leading prophet.
That was it.
Thanks a lot.
I mean, that is something that we have to keep in mind, though, because I'm seeing a lot things on Facebook that are kind of like, are you losing your Christianity for that one little post you posted? Right. It's just hard to keep keep things balanced in this emotion. And I feel like in this election, but emotions are running high.
They are.
And it's like, it's just turning people so ugly.
It is.
And that's just unnecessary. We just still need to walk in love and do what we know that we're supposed to do, even though it might not look appealing. But
right.
At the end of the day, you know what's right. You know what you believe in, and don't allow yourself to be shifted, by what you see on Facebook or
that's good.
The
or
videos or what you hear on here, even. But and
I do not slap numbs, by the way, just so everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Not on air, anyway.
Never.
There you go. Look at the screen, guys. Look at the screen. This is what Kirk DeMars was talking about. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. See, we have deception going on.
That's right.
And I mean, Kurt, you read that scripture. That's like you just ripped that out of today's headlines. What was happening in Matthew? They went and told the governors, the people there, they're right away. What a great point. The deception. They were trying to get people to think that Jesus wasn't risen from the dead.
Yeah.
That's what's going on today.
It is.
I mean, the same plan of the enemy. Donnie, I listened to you really close during that first segment. And I listened, and I'm looking at all that stuff. And then, are you saying that Anthony Weiner is the Russian spy? Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, that's how good the Russians are, is that they planted these emails into Anthony Weiner's laptop and then set up a teenage girl for him to start sexting.
Because Donald Trump asked him to.
Because Donald Trump paid him to.
Right.
But there's no connection there.
We figured it out.
And
here, folks, on the 1412 Live, we have figured it out.
Figured it out.
We did. We figured it out. Well, I think it's amazing, that Vladimir is standing there saying, I'm not doing this. But nobody wants to listen to him. He's like, now look, I'm going to drop a nuke on you if you say it one more time. Go ahead and say it one more time. Go ahead and say Hillary email one more time. I'm going to drop a nuke on you if you say that again. He's so sick of it. He's like, I didn't do this.
You want to talk about temperament? I got my finger on the nuclear code.
Yeah, he's got his finger on there, and it's 4 minutes. Yeah. Hillary let us know that. It's 4 minutes. So, get ready for that. Let's talk about these. Let's talk about this.
Just real quick, too. I want to comment on your first segment there, too. Something you said. This is amazing, guys. We have heard from all the upper echelon, the higher ups, the Obamas, Michelle and Barry. We have heard from them this glowing resume of how Hillary is the most qualified person to ever run for president. Not only the most qualified woman, but the most qualified president to ever run. And we've covered this on other shows. We've talked about this. And even Bernie Sanders has come out and, she's just the best. She's the best. Forget that all these guys were bad-mouthing her in 2008 on video. Solid proof saying that her life of corruption disqualifies her from running. But right now, that's okay. Forget about it. They love her right now because she is the most qualified. And isn't this amazing? I'm just listening to you. And she talks about her resume, but apparently in these 30 years of being in the White House, being a state senator, and being in politics this whole time, she doesn't know that the FBI can't just publicly come out and talk about their investigation.
No.
She wants them to, but I think you made this point. Isn't this amazing? Do you know who could release all the emails? And who could share with all the American public what's going on here? There's only one person that's in control of this, who had an email server, who has all the emails, and whose best buddy has the Russian spy, Anthony Weiner, in her, bedroom there, and that is Hillary Clinton.
Right.
She has all this stuff. She could tell her best friend to talk all about
Release
this.
it.
But all these years of experience, she doesn't know. She's never worked with the FBI. she's never been involved in anything with the justice system of our country. I thought her resume was so glowing that she knows how the system works. See, Trump doesn't know how all this works. That's why people can't elect him, because he hasn't been in politics. He doesn't have the experience.
Right.
But her experience is that she knows that she can get up on a stage and tell the FBI to release details of a current investigation.
Yeah.
Isn't this amazing? I mean, woo! I mean, she's got the experience. It's amazing. Here you go. I got one more for you. There we go.
Hillary for prison.
There we go.
2016.
You guys can
20.
see this.
I mean, he's
you guys
talking
at
right
Facebook
away.
Live can't see that one. Anyway, go ahead.
So the
I'm done
FBI
with
is working day and night to pour over some new emails that potentially tied Hillary to Hillary Clinton's private server. Now, I find this interesting that when they found these emails, and there was a bunch, right? There's a bunch of these on Anthony. This was a separate deal, right? This was an investigation into Anthony Weiner's messages to a teenage girl. Again, here we are again. But all that aside, so they get to digging in there, and they look under something that says life insurance. Really? It says life insurance, and it has all these emails that are Hillary Clinton emails that somehow got into this device and were saved under something called life insurance. Now, I can start the conspiracy here to say that, and this is a conspiracy theory, that Huma put those under there, under life insurance, knowing that someday when Hillary turns on her, she's going to be able to pull these up and use them against her.
Guys, those emails were stolen by Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. They're not admissible on this radio show. You cannot present this evidence on this radio show because they were stolen evidence.
Yes, they were stolen.
Forget that they don't deny.
Yeah, that they're real. They were just stolen.
But they were stolen, so you can't use them in this court of radio law that we're conducting here.
Yeah. So here's James Comey. He announced Friday that these new emails were discovered during the separate investigation of Anthony Weiner's messages to this teenage girl. And because, again, this disgraced congressman is the estranged husband of Clinton's closest aide up till just magically a couple days ago.
Weird.
Huma
Weird.
There were thousands of emails on the laptop in question, but it's unclear how many contained messages to or from the former Secretary of State. But I'm going to imagine if the FBI director came out and said, wait a minute, we have an issue here, that there were some. Otherwise, this is just about Anthony Weiner sexting an underage girl. So that has nothing to do with Hillary. So why would this man say, we're going to go ahead and open up that investigation again on the Clintons? That's not off of sexting a teenage girl. He found something.
Donnie, you're a racist.
Well, I don't like
you're
women.
A homophobe.
I don't like women. I don't like women is what that is.
You hate women.
So there was a woman that came out, and I was going to talk about that. I wanted to actually pull up the article because it was so far out. That's exactly what it said. This is a well-known woman who is a linguistics expert, and she worked for the Democratic National Convention in writing their speeches and wording them right. And she came out with a big article saying that that's exactly why this is an issue, is because she's a woman. That's why, because these men can't handle that there's a strong woman who talks that way. And so this whole email thing is really just an attack on her because she's a woman. If this was a man, they said, then this wouldn't even be an issue. These emails wouldn't be an issue, but it's because she's a woman.
Just like the video wasn't an issue. Just like him owning the Miss Universe pageant isn't an issue. They don't care about that. They can just let that go and drop that. Even though he's on video, if everybody would just video the press conference of the Miss Universe, he actually kept Alicia Machado as Miss Universe for the entire year when the committee wanted to get rid of her.
Yeah.
So if everybody will go on there, he was on a press conference actually defending her.
Well, and what's funny is, and as disgusting as it may be, but this Miss Universe is not about intelligence. It's about their bodies.
Wait,
don't be dumb.
Wait a minute.
Is.
Why? I don't know why you're talking about this. Shy should be talking about this.
Sure, it's about their bodies, right? I mean, it's not about, you know what? She was the smartest girl that we've ever met.
Yeah.
And this is why
The
she's Miss Universe.
The most qualified.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
most
is so
qualified.
smart
Yeah.
and looks good in glasses. She's not a 10, but you know, but she looks. It's all about their bodies.
Right.
It's even written into the rules about their bodies, and she gained 35 pounds. That was the issue. She gained 35 pounds as Miss Universe for the first year and was supposed to be kicked out because that was in her contract. That was the whole issue. That's the only reason why any of that ever came up. So, you know, I don't suppose you should call anybody Miss Piggy, except Miss Piggy. But my point is this, it was all in the rules, and he kept her on anyway against what they were saying, but they're saying that he was against her, and that's just ridiculous. So let's look at this now. They've got software going through emails, overlapping shifts, 16 hours a day. They're pouring through these emails. The same multi-agency intelligent task force that was first used on the Clinton email case has been directed to re-engage with a directive to identify new classified material. They're finding classified material on Anthony Weiner's laptop.
Whose fault is this? Who's
Russians.
responsible for
Thanks,
this in the
Obama.
first place?
Trump.
I got to ask Kurt DeMars here. Kurt
Yes.
DeMars, you pay taxes.
Do I pay? Yes, sir.
You pay,
I want to see. I want you to
taxes.
release those forms right now.
Can we fact check that, please, Jay?
Can we fact check that? Okay.
Can we? I need a real-time fact checker here to see if Kurt DeMars has paid his taxes. I don't know. He hasn't released them, so I'm not sure if he can speak, but we'll see. And Shai, how do you feel about? I'm pretty sure when you go to work and every day, and then when you get your paycheck, do you look on there and they pull taxes out of your check?
Oh, absolutely. Well, let me state that one, I make $3.68 an hour as a waitress. So not only do they tax me off of my $3.68 an hour, but I get taxed off of the claims, the tips that I have to claim every time somebody uses a credit card. And even if you don't use a credit card, even if I got all cash tips, I would still have to claim a certain percentage.
Right. You have
So both of
an opportunity to be able to make money, and they also give you an opportunity to report what's legal.
Right.
Just like with Trump, he was doing what was legally.
Because now you don't have to report 100% of those cash tips that you get,
and
do
I
you?
sure don't either.
But you got them.
Right.
But legally, you don't have to show that.
Right.
Okay.
But there
okay,
is.
so you both, you're on record now. You're both good tax-paying American citizens there. All right.
We're wearing the
How
same
did
shirt.
you both with the resistance? If you're receiving this transmission, you're part of the resistance. And now, I just wanted to go on record with you guys. How do you feel, Shai, that some of your 383 there, your federal taxpayer, the dollars that are coming out for federal taxes that you're paying, how do you feel about your money going, that the FBI is having to spend taxpayer dollars to investigate Anthony Weiner's laptop? How disgraceful as a country is this? You're having to work hard. Some of your good hard-earned money is like Donnie said, they're having to hire staff, tech experts. They're having to pour over all these emails when it was unnecessary. All this, we're spending huge amounts of dollars on these investigations because she couldn't just use her State Department. As Secretary of State, the most qualified woman that we've ever known in this country, that is rising to the presidency because she's a woman. As Secretary of State, she couldn't even use her state.gov email address and keep business. And so now you're having to spend your money. Forget all this stuff. Believers out there, you don't even have to crack open your Bible to figure this one out. This is common sense. Are you happy with your taxpayer money being used to investigate Clinton corruption? 30 years of Clinton corruption. Here we go. And we're not done.
Right.
Some people now have estimated it's going to be a year and a half, 2 years before any of this stuff is done being investigated. And it's your money. How do you like that, Shai, when you're waiting tables? Thinking about that.
It's an outrage.
You're against women too.
Yeah, I hate them.
You don't want a woman president.
I'm a big fat woman here.
Women.
You
Wow.
said fat. You said woman and fat.
Fat. I'm triggered.
Called herself
He
that.
said-
Wow.
Let's edit that. So they're saying it's
Just
going to take weeks or months to understand just the classification, because the FBI cannot independently determine whether information contained in the newly found record is classified. They're just pulling up the things that they see that say state.gov. And then, of course, the lawyer for Huma Abedin, he said that she was surprised to learn that any of her emails were on Weiner's laptop and believed that she had turned everything over to investigators. She had no idea that was on her husband's laptop under something that said life insurance. So he must have done it then. He must have somehow.
It's the Russians.
Russians.
Well, he's probably got Putin on his text. He just said, "Hey, Vlad, what are you doing today? I'm gonna send you a few emails."
What's up, Vlad? How you doing?
Kirk, you got all kinds of papers here. What do you have for us?
I do, but you know what?
What do you got?
As we're going through all these different things, these different websites. I mean, obviously, again, we're being fed a lot of information. We're having a lot of stuff thrown out at us from both sides.
Right.
And again, how do you establish and determine what the truth is? And again, I mean, we establish the truth by what it. I'm going to go back to the Bible again. We establish the truth by what God's word says. Now some people may say, well, how do you know that that's absolute truth? I mean, that's what I know and believe, and that's what I've seen proven over and over and over again through prophetic words and through it being fulfilled in the person of Jesus Christ. And that's what I believe to be true. And if you are calling yourself a believer, you need to believe in every word that the Word of God says. There is no discrepancy there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, would everybody agree with that?
Right.
Matt, does that happen in Hawaii too? All right. Thumbs up.
Actually,
But the thing is we're being fed a lot of information, so we have to be able to, as a lot of people I've seen, they said pray, and we need to be able to discern the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what the truth is, people. We know what the truth is, but what we have been doing is we have been turning a blind eye to the truth. And again, when Don was talking earlier about churches, I mean, what are we doing? We are in this mess today because we have not taken the responsibility as a church to be the true light of Jesus Christ. We've not taken the responsibility of, as the church, to tell the truth, even when we know it might hurt someone in the sin that they're in. We've had so many different things now that used to be called sin that are now accepted as natural and a lifestyle.
Right.
And we have to be tolerant of that. Well, I'm sorry, I don't want anybody to go to hell because of having the deceiver, the enemy, destroy and kill them because of sin that they were in. I know I was headed that way, and I know each one of you would say the same thing, is that we have to recognize that, and somebody told us the truth.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot, over and over again.
And some of us, it took longer to get there than others.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, we talked about Angelique the witch. I mean, this woman lived an evil life her entire life from when she was born. And then she finally saw the truth at age 34 and got set free. I mean, some people, it takes a long time.
It did take a long time.
But what we have to recognize, we can't give up. I mean, over and over again, and talking about the emails where, founding a conversation between Podesta and I think it was Cheryl Mills.
Right.
And, just talking about, well, we're going to have to get rid of those. We're going to have to get rid of them. Yeah. I mean, just deception, lies, cover up. I mean, and
right-wing conspiracy.
I have never seen before like I've seen with the media. I mean, in years past, elections past, I mean, you knew, but it wasn't openly being spoken about their preference for, basically for Hillary. That it has been open now more than I have. I mean, I just can't believe it. It's like, are you kidding me? And people are buying it.
Right.
And people are buying it.
Right.
I'm sorry, I went off on a different tangent, but it had to go.
Well, the 30,000 emails of even Podesta that have been leaked, out of 30,000 right now, WikiLeaks. It's amazing how nobody's coming out and saying all this so-called right-wing conspiracy was actually happening. It was really happening. They proved it. Now this is great. The spin, Kurt. Now they're saying that dump, and if you could just tell our listeners who don't know, these are the top people. This is the Clinton campaign manager, Cheryl Mills, her lawyer, the top people of there. And read that quote again of what they said in the email to each other.
It said, on another matter, and not to sound like Lanny, but we are going to have to dump all those emails.
Lanny's their cleanup guy, their damage control, their PR guy. Okay, now this is what they said about those. Kurt, they were just saying they need to turn them over to them. That's the new spin. So if you were gonna turn emails over to the investigators. So Donnie and I do this all the time. Two Guys in the Bible. He's like, dude, we gotta dump these emails. Somebody's gonna find them.
Somebody's gonna find all these prayer requests.
Yes.
Getting pretty deep.
Is he gonna say that, or is he gonna say, we have to procure these emails for the FBI, turn them in to the FBI. They're talking about getting rid of them because what happened was they used a software program called BleachBit to erase these emails. Can you spin that, Kurt? Can you spin that statement? Do you think they were actually saying they were going to cooperate with investigators and turn all these emails in? Or did they really mean they needed to dump these?
You can spin it by saying, well, we were doing our laundry and we accidentally spilled bleach on our laptop. You can do that.
That's about it.
Kurt's against emailing. He's a racist. He's against all emailers. Shut him down. Shut him down. Amazing. Shai, what do you think of that? You ever dumped all your emails so that nobody could find them?
Can't say I have.
She pleads the fifth.
I mean, nobody's fact checking that. So
you don't remember? You don't recall?
I don't recall.
She moved them to Don's personal email.
I thought the C stood for Shy.
Yeah. She's got some stuff.
This is what we do, folks, here on this program. Yeah, Shai's got a separate file just in case we ever get on here and try to disclose any information. She's got a life insurance file just to make sure.
So again, we got to go back to what about the church in this whole deal? What about the church though? Yeah. Because the big issue is still, we've got people that are going to say, I can't in a good conscience vote for either one. I just cannot vote for either one. Definitely not Hillary. We see all the scandal. We know where she's at. We've heard the things that she said. She's for abortion. We're against it. But then I still have this Donald Trump who, I mean, he did say those things. He did say those things. Has he really changed? I think that's the thing that's got so many people concerned is they just aren't sure that he has changed. Right. Is this all a big publicity stunt that he's now suddenly a Christian, that he's now suddenly a changed man, that he's now all of a sudden women aren't bimbos or, you know, I mean, I think it's the unknowns with Trump that makes people nervous. But I think, again, what should make you nervous is the knowns about Hillary.
That's right.
I still think, because when I'm looking at Donald Trump, there's somebody that I believe is somewhat teachable in some areas who might actually listen to some of those people that are around him. He brought in Mike Pence, who's not a lay down guy. When Trump came out and said the things that he said and that came out, Pence made no bones about where he stood with that. Right. He said, that ain't right. I don't condone it. I don't like it. I mean, he came right out and stood right up. Tim Kaine, by golly, Hillary, just the best ever. And golly gee whiz, she's just the greatest ever. And that guy has no backbone. Why would you bring in a guy so strong as Pence if you don't want to listen to somebody? Because Pence isn't going to be Uncle Joe Biden who just disappears as vice president and you don't let him out except for when you want to laugh.
Hey, right now, out of the four, I bet Pence gets the most votes of anybody.
I do too.
Right. What kind of guy, Donald Trump, picks somebody better than him?
Right.
That is proof that he's not an egomaniac. for those of you out there that just can't see past his ego, oh, his ego, oh, he's an egomaniac. Why did he pick a guy that's better than him, Mike Pence?
Right.
Come on, people. Egomaniacs don't do that. Sociopaths don't do that. If you insist that Donald Trump's a sociopath, you better look at the definition, because Hillary did not pick somebody better than her. Come on.
Yeah.
Look at the two.
Right.
Look at them.
When
Look at who they surround themselves with.
When you talk about ego, I mean, really look at it. We need somebody with ego right now to be able to stand in the face of the corruption that's been going on for so long. I mean, the way that our political establishment has been over these last many years, I mean, it's been heading towards this point. There has been a moment that has been established. I mean, the line's been drawn in the sand. Are you going to step over and continue with this, or are you done with it? And what we need to have is, we need to have somebody. Yes, we do not agree with everything that he says or does.
No.
You don't agree with everything that anybody in this room or, Matt says or does. We don't agree with all that, but we have to establish what is right for right now, and for the people that are in our families, for the people in our communities and in this country. We have to stand up and say no more to the tyranny. Yeah. I mean, we talked about abortion earlier. Abortion's bad. We know that. But if you really want to have an understanding, if you really want to establish your opinion on abortion, look at a video of a partial birth abortion.
It's rough.
I saw that, and I could not hardly stand to look at it.
It hurt me.
Yes.
It hurt
basically
me.
Seeing a baby almost completely out of the womb murdered right before my eyes.
Yep.
And that was not Hollywood, people. That was right before my eyes. I saw murder.
Yeah.
And Hillary Clinton is on video saying that baby at that moment, Kirk, does not have constitutional rights under Roe v. Wade.
Yeah. And how many seconds later does it?
Yeah. I mean, if the head happened to fall out and it took a breath, it suddenly has constitutional rights. But because they leave the head in there, you'd have to see the video. I don't know that I recommend it. I mean, it bothered me. It hurt me really bad.
I think people should be bothered by it.
Something's wrong with that, people.
We should be bothered. Right. Exactly.
Right.
We should be bothered by it because it's been wrong and it's been going on for too long. And we need to say enough. We need to say enough. Yeah.
Well,
and that's the uncomfortable part about what Trump's been doing, is that he's got the people in his own party that are against him because he's saying enough. Mm-hmm. No more of this political junk that we've been doing. Let's do what's right for America and the American people.
Right.
Yeah. In the church.
Church, that's a great point, because you're talking about what you're bringing out is that we're so worried about the distractions of videotapes in this universe that we're not talking about those real issues like that.
What matters the most? I mean, what is more important, believer? What is more important? A child's life or a video?
Right.
Of Miss America.
Yeah. Guys, we're up on a break. We've got to go take a little break here. But when we come back, we're going to talk about, there's a few questions that have come up about some of these emails, and we're going to look at some of that and see some real facts about some of these things that are coming out. This is the 1412 Live right here on the 1412 Radio Network. We will be right back.
The 1412 Live, where the Bible and the street meet. Are you ready to see what God is going to do in your life and in your community in 2017? Then you'll want to join Don Allen and Matt Davis of Two Guys and a Bible for the 3rd Annual Winter Summit at Christ the Healer Studios in the Laurie Terrace Mall in Laurie, Missouri, located in the beautiful Lake of the Ozarks, Tuesday, January 3rd through Friday the 6th. Meetings are at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. daily. New this year are breakout sessions at 2 p.m. daily. Identity School with Dr. Glenn Hartline and a 4 p.m. breakout session. Christian Business Leadership with Tom Tompkins Jr. And the 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. meetings will be streamed live on the 1412 Radio Network. And all meetings will be live through streaming video. The 1412 Winter Summit also features Mike Bateman, Shy, the Reverend Helen Lowry, Kirk DeMars, Pastors Mark and Kim Spellman, David Craig, and many more. The event is absolutely free, and discounted hotel accommodations are available at the Sleep Inn and Suites in Camdenton. Just tell them you're with Two Guys and a Bible. The 1412 Winter Summit, Tuesday, January 3rd through Friday the 6th at the Laurie Terrace Mall in Laurie, Missouri. We want to hear from you today. Facebook us at 1412 Radio Network. That's the word 14, the number 12, Radio Network.
Right, welcome back to the program. Those brave souls that have hung on for the third and final installment of today's live program. This is the 1412 Live. I'm your host, Don Allen. I'm joined by Matt Davis, Shy.
Yay.
Kirk DeMars is here today. You know, when all these emails came out, this newest thing, and here's the FBI director comes out and he says he's going to do this, and now everybody's after him. He broke the law now. Now it's him. Now the FBI director has. So all this stuff started coming out about how he violated the Hatch Act. Oh, he did the FBI director violate the Hatch Act, which prohibits federal employees from using their position to influence an election. So they're saying now that this is politically motivated by the guy who was the world's greatest FBI nonpartisan director in God's
July.
green earth.
In July.
But now all of a sudden they're saying, well, he's using this to influence an election because it came out so many days right before the election. And not even close. He didn't break any laws. So here's, it's Harry Reid again. You know Harry Reid. Now you want to talk about somebody that lies all the time. Just go look at Harry Reid. And again, this is just what it is. He does. He's definitely not an authority on the law. He's a senator. Okay. He is not an authority on the law. He doesn't know. But there's no evidence that the FBI director was deliberately attempting to influence the election. The facts are the facts. If you happen to find them the day before the election, you have to say something. So it's not about that he was trying to break the law. His disclosure may have had that effect, it seems like, but his intent, and it absolutely has had the effect. Matt, I want you to look up some polling numbers for us today, if you would. But it appears that he felt he had a legal duty to notify Congress that his earlier sworn testimony stating that the Clinton investigation was closed, well, that isn't true. He had to open it back up. And again, if he did not intend to influence the election, then there's no violation of law. And I don't believe that that's what he thought was, I've got to put this out there so Hillary can lose. I don't believe he did that.
Right.
He could have done that the first time.
Right.
He could have nailed that coffin shut the first round if he wanted to. He could have absolutely had done that, and it would be Bernie Sanders and Trump right now, because that could have happened then. So again, if he had withheld the new information, he would be accused of protecting Clinton, and then he would have been actually violating the Hatch Act by doing that. So he had to go ahead and release that stuff. So again, he is not in any violation there. Did the FBI need to get a warrant to examine these emails found on Anthony Weiner's devices? Not initially, but later on they did, because again, he was caught texting an underage girl. And the FBI launched an investigation into whether he committed various crimes under both state and federal law. And this was all about him in the beginning. And they issued a subpoena to seize his various electronic devices that he was using. And so that's when the questionable emails relating to the separate Clinton investigation were discovered. They weren't looking for Hillary Clinton in this deal at all. They were looking at laws being violated because this man was sending nude pictures of himself to a 14 or 15-year-old girl. But they happened to find these things, which now, of course, they had probable cause. They found him. They got a warrant issued off of the probable cause. Again, not going after Clinton in any way. If it's there, it's there. If you happen to find them and they're there, they're there. You can't help that. They were on there. So again, it was easy to get a judge to sign off on the warrant. It's like the police discovering bags of white powder in the backseat of a car stopped for speeding. They can seize the bags, and but they should get a warrant to examine and test the contents. Can this be resolved before Election Day? They're saying it seems possible. They're saying it seems possible. The FBI needs to examine tens of thousands of emails. The Wall Street Journal reports there's around 650,000. I can't get my phone or computer to run with the 10 emails that I've saved on there with it out at bogging. How do they have 650,000?
That's because you only use one device. We have multiple devices in here.
Yes. 650,000 emails. So it's going to be a big deal. It's going to take a long time for the feds to determine what documents were classified, whether they passed through Clinton's server, whether Clinton herself sent or received them. A government source confirms that the metadata on the devices turned up positive hits for Hillary Clinton emails. They're running it through a program to find out. But it could take months to analyze all of them and determine if any laws were broken. If newly discovered classified emails are connected to Clinton, is that a crime? Well, not necessarily. They're saying even if the new emails show that classified documents were sent or received by Clinton from her private server, an unauthorized place, there's still the legal standard of intent and or gross negligence that must be met by prosecutors. And we remember how that worked out on July 5th of earlier this year when the FBI director held his infamous news briefing and he recommended no prosecution. So he might reach the same conclusion all over again, or he might reverse it himself. We don't know, but it's going to depend on the content of the newly discovered evidence. But again, the FBI director absolutely must have seen something in the evidence that alarmed him enough to reopen the investigation, or he wouldn't. This is going to ruin him either way, by the way.
Again, I wish you would quit being so hard on her. Their defense now is everybody has a private email server. I mean, I'm sure Shy has one in her basement. Kurt, you and Angela, you have a private email server?
Shy's got a few. Angela would, because she doesn't have, email or a phone. So
Angela still uses Pigeon, and that's fine. It works.
She uses little rolled up, little scroll.
She does use email now, though. She does use email.
Does she?
Yeah.
She is.
For Sports Locker.
Wow.
That is awesome.
But
I'll
here's
bet,
the
I'll bet
defense.
you this,
Here's
she'll
the
never be
defense,
involved
guys.
in a scandal.
Nope.
Nope.
And she won't be on
Scandal.
Facebook either.
Nope.
Everybody has a private email server, Donnie. You don't understand. See, she got her advice from Colin Powell. She said, this is her recent
agree.
defense. He had a private email server, and Colin Powell did it. If he did it, she could do it. If Condoleezza Rice, if all these guys had private email servers, they all do it. I'm just asking everybody, did Anthony Weiner have access to Colin Powell's email server?
I don't think so.
Did he turn over all these other Secretary of States? Did they allow, in all their vast experience, did they allow all these people? Why are all these people surrounding her being investigated by the FBI? Whole bunch of people.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a whole other deal, isn't it? That's a whole other deal.
Tons of people are being investigated by the FBI. Why? If you're so good at being Secretary of State, why are all the people around you being investigated? That's the big question.
It's the big question. Check out this. This is a crazy thing right here. Look at this.
Sorry.
Could Clinton pardon herself if she becomes president?
Oh, my goodness.
Could she pardon
Pardon
herself?
myself.
She most certainly can. She
Pardon
absolutely can. The power of pardon is without limitation, the law says. A president can pardon any person, including the president, except in cases of impeachment. Richard Nixon,
Look at it, Chuck.
he contemplated pardoning himself.
I love it.
Richard Nixon was going to pardon himself. He was an unindicted co-conspirator in criminal indictments stemming from the Watergate investigation. In the end, he did not pardon himself, but he could have, it says. Gerald Ford did it for him, though. He pardoned him. But it was immensely unpopular and of course, contributed to Ford losing the 1976 election to Jimmy Carter, who was another great president.
You know that Obama could pardon her before he leaves office.
Yes, he can pardon her, and she can pardon herself. So if Clinton were to issue her own pardon, she would be poisoning herself politically, but she'd at least still get her 4 years. She'd still have 4 years. And again, it's the equivalent of admitting guilt, but evading the consequences. So I think that would be a big deal. So here's another one. What would happen if Clinton is indicted after being sworn in as president? Because these aren't going to just disappear. I mean, there's still, even if she wins, it gets a little dicey here. Presidents have broad constitutional immunity against prosecution for ordinary crimes. They can get away with stuff that we can't get away with. So the framers wrote about it in the Federalist Papers. Law students are taught it in their classes on constitutional law that a president could murder someone in the Oval Office and not be prosecuted, at least until the term of office expires. But it's unclear whether that same immunity applies to acts committed before taking office. The founders wanted a president to be free of being prosecuted, which I think is probably good as you're coming into office and people are trying to pull things up on you. I can see how that could be abused, but they didn't contemplate potential crimes or criminal acts of a candidate prior to an election or an inauguration. So that's a little unclear on that one, how that works. Could Clinton step aside temporarily to face prosecution upon indictment? She could do so by invoking the 25th Amendment if she decides she is unable to discharge the powers of the presidency due to public anger surrounding an indictment. So Clinton could notify Congress in writing that she is temporarily stepping aside to submit herself voluntarily for trial. I don't see that happening.
Nope.
If she's acquitted, she could notify Congress that she is able to discharge her duties as the president and resume the position. This, however, is most unlikely of the scenarios, of course. Could Clinton be prosecuted after she leaves office? Probably, but you're going to expect a legal challenge, because here's why. If Clinton is indicted after being sworn in and thereafter invokes constitutional immunity, she could be prosecuted after leaving office only if the statute of limitations has not expired. She's really got to push for a second term, is what this is saying. Thus, it depends on how long she serves and the nature of the charges. Some statutes could lapse during her presidency, especially if it runs more than one term. However, prosecutors might argue that statutes are tolled or suspended due to legal impossibility, again, thus allowing prosecution of Clinton. Could Clinton be impeached over this? Historically, no. Presidents can only be impeached for actions committed during their presidency. Alleged crimes committed before a president takes office were never considered impeachable offenses. At least that was the conclusion of Congress dating back to the latter half of the 19th century. We could go on and read some of that, which I don't care about. Will congressional investigations of Clinton continue after she takes office, assuming that she wins this election? Will this continue to go on afterwards? If Republicans regain control of the House of Representatives, various chairmen are vowing to pursue multiple investigations of Clinton. They include potential perjury, obstruction of justice, bribery, fraud, pay-to-play corruption, and illegal use of a nonprofit, her foundation. Clinton could end up mired in scandal from the outset of her presidency in the same way that Nixon was disabled by Watergate. He squandered the trust and goodwill of the American people, and he lost the ability to work with Congress to pass any meaningful legislation for the benefit of the American people. Clinton could suffer the same fate. She could, except if all the down ballots lose and the Democrats take control of the House and the Senate and she gets in, this disappears. You never hear this again, ever. Never, ever.
The great part about this is all the while this is happening,